And this week, we're going to talk about some new off-road lights. Not these guys here. These are the Baja Designs LP9 Pros. I stumbled across these new lights here that are just being released from Novsight. And these, I don't know whatever this is, Red Dot Winter 2025. Well, these are brand new. They're just coming out. They've won some awards. And these are the 8-inch Pod Light Pros. And upon taking an initial look at them, they seem to check a lot of those boxes. They look good. I've talked to some people that run Novsight lights, no complaints. And when you look at the specs on their website, they're supposed to be quite bright. So I'd like to compare them to my Baja Designs LP9s. We'll get these unboxed and I'll show you just what comes with them. They've got some interesting quirks. I don't know if I'd call them quirks, but interesting features, because they're more than just a light. They have some really cool running light features, so we'll take a look at how that works. And then I'm gonna do something I've never done before, and that is, we're actually gonna test, where did I put it? The lighting output. I bought this little fancy device, this light meter, and I'm gonna compare them to my Baja Designs LP9s. I also have some Baja Designs LP6s, which I took off of my Wrangler, and we can test those as well, LP6 Pros. They're all clear. This is everything you get in a box, so you don't have to order singles. When you order Baja Designs lights, they come as single lights, so you actually have to order two. And so the price you see on Novsight's website is actually for a pair of these. And they give you all kinds of stuff in here. We get rid of some of this plastic. We get a whole pile of stickers. And we even get some covers with these out of the box. So let's get these out of here. So in the box, we get two of these monster lights. Let's see if I can get them out of the foam, or maybe it's just easier to take the foam off. In the foam though, we do have some embedded opaque black covers, which for where I live, you're supposed to have your off-road lights covered if you're not off-road. But they don't seem to fully cover the entire light. This is a plastic back half, aluminum front. This feels like metal. And we've got these removable amber covers, so you can actually have an amber tint to your light, or you can have it fully clear. But you can see what I was talking about here with the blackout. It doesn't cover all the lights, but I guess, you know, if you're driving down the road, this will look like your lights are covered, but to me it would have made a bit more sense to have a cover that covers all of the lights. These are a combo beam, so they have a spot beam as well as a dispersed beam. So we've got a center section here. I can see some LED chips, and we've got 4 around in the star pattern, but look at how they throw the light off the side. These are not forward-facing lenses. These are side-facing lenses. So I've considered for quite a while Baja Designs to be kind of the benchmark in both quality, performance, and style. So I think this is a good comparison to take a look at these two lights. So definitely a much different visual style. We've got more of a silver look rather than a black look. On here we have 6 that are spots, and these are combo beams, so then we have 3 that are wide. But then we also have some side shooters to disperse the beam further, and then we also have an amber running light. So you can wire this in separately to have your light on when you're driving. And the covers that I have for these go over the combo and spot beams, but not over the running light. So you're gonna get this cool amber running light when you're driving. The Novsight lights, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 chips. And then I think there's 2 more in here, 7, 8 chips. Did I count that right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 chips, and 2 more in the middle if there's 2 in there. So that's 9, 10. We'll flash these up and see and make sure we actually have light coming from the center. But this looks like a focused beam out the middle. Side-by-side comparison for size, these are definitely closer to the LP9s as far as size goes. And looking at a top-down, the Novsight lights are a little bit thicker. They have a little bit more depth to them which could be a bit of a mounting consideration. On the LP9s, we use a connector that goes directly into the back of the light, where on the Novsight lights, we actually have a bit of a dongle, and then it connects to the connector here. So we'll be able to wire that connector down into the bumper, and we won't have anything exposed up above sticking out the back, which, yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's better, maybe it's not. Now, Baja Designs sells their lights in either clear or amber. You can change the lenses out on them, or you can get an amber cover for the clear lenses. Novsight only sells these in clear, but as we just saw when we're unboxing, we can add the amber cover. I think even a clear cover is a good idea because lights are prone to getting hit with rocks when you're off-roading. So even if you don't want to change the color, I think a clear cover would be nice to have. Of course, we've got brackets that don't leave you hanging in the bracket department. These are metal and not plastic, and these are going to mount very much like our other lights, where they're going to mount to the sides of these lights, and then we can mount them onto our bumper.
Quick pause from the video before we get into testing these lights. We do have a sponsor this week, and that is BLUETTI. If you're in the market for a new portable power station and you're waiting for the right deal to come along, BLUETTI has their 5-year exclusive anniversary deal on right now. And that includes this BLUETTI Elite 30 V2 portable solar generator. This is only available for a limited time as well as limited stock, so don't wait around too long. This compact portable power station packs quite a punch with 288 watt hours of LiFePO4 battery life. It can continuously put out 600 watts of AC power and surge up to 1500 watts for short bursts. You can recharge this from 0 to 100% in as little time as 70 minutes with AC input, but you can also charge this off things like your car, or you can plug in some solar panels and charge it from the sun. It's also great for charging your devices on the go. It's loaded with USB ports as well as some fast charging USB-C ports. And you can monitor how everything's going through BLUETTI's useful app that works over Wi-Fi or Bluetooth. Weighing around only 9.5 pounds, it's rated for 3,000 charge cycles without dropping below 80% capacity, and has a 5-year warranty. BLUETTI Elite 30 V2 has you covered for all your power needs while you're out on the go or off the grid. If you want to pick up a BLUETTI Elite 30 V2 for yourself, you can scan this QR code on the screen right now, or check out some of the links in the description and pinned comment. That's where you'll also find some discount codes if you want to save a few bucks on your order. And huge thanks to BLUETTI for sponsoring this week's video.
Now, I've also got some Baja Designs LP6 lights in my parts bin here from the JL. For those of you that have been following for a while, I did get rid of the JL Wrangler Eco Diesel about 6 months ago. But I did take some stuff off it before we sent it out to pasture. And one of those things were the Baja Designs LP6s. So this covers the same as on the LP9. You can see where the amber running light comes through in the bottom, and then the rest of the light covers everything else. Should probably clean these before we do any testing, but you can see side by side how the Novsight lights compare against the LP6s. They are slightly larger. So I'd say size-wise, these are a little bit closer to LP9s than LP6s as far as overall size goes, but they are a little thicker than both the LP6s and LP9s. We also get this cool little alphabet controller, and the reason we need that is not just so that we can control the lights, but so that we can control the effects on the lights, because not only do these have the lights that we just talked about, but this area all around here is actually a running light, and it will outline the whole light, and you can actually change how that operates. So it's not just completely on, it actually has some different functions, which we'll take a look at. We've got a fuse, we've got some connections here. Now we're gonna be able to wire these up a few different ways. One of them is, well, I wanna see if we can wire these into my S-Pod somehow, but we've got the ability to trigger them with your running lights. So that's why we're gonna have these extra wires here, extra circuits beyond just powering the lights themselves. And then on the other end, we've got, these are very industry standard Deutsch connectors. Same type of connector that Baja Designs uses. And I think this is the best kind of connector that all companies should use, but not all companies do. I decided to just have a quick look at the actual tech specs between the Novsight lights, the Baja Designs LP9s, and the Baja Designs LP6s. So according to Novsight's website, the Halo Pro 8 lights, Halo 8-inch pod light pros are 22,440 lumens per pod. Baja Designs LP9 Pros are 11,025 lumens per pod with an additional 2,280 lumens out the side. And the LP6s that I just showed you are 8,600 lumens with an additional 1,700 lumens for the side shooters. But company testing can vary quite a bit. There's a lot of variables that can go into lighting testing, distance, whether you're measuring the hot spot, what does the beam pattern look like? And that's what I really want to see, and we can see how bright they are overall and not just like in the perfect conditions. But they do rate them at 220 watts per pod. So that's a lot of wattage. That's over double what Baja Designs rates the wattage. So they're pulling some amps through these lights. Okay, set up a testing table, and we'll check and see just how bright each of these three lights compares with each other with my light meter here that should show us the lumens. We're gonna just shoot them against the garage door, see how bright each of them are, and then I think what I'll do is move the table right to the front of the garage door, and then we can shine them across the yard, which should give us, 75 feet or so. And we can look at the beam patterns and the hot spots, and I think there'll be some subjective interpretation here because of beam patterns, but we'll be able to see with the light meter the actual lumens being put out at different distances, which won't be subjective. Okay, don't look directly into any of these lights. They're insanely bright. So I've got both the Baja Designs and the Novsight light on at the same time. And what I'm gonna do is just cover up one with some cardboard, and then you can kind of see the difference real quick. So this is the Novsight 8-inch Halo. There you can see the beam pattern. It's got this like straight beam across and then big hot spot right in the middle. And this is the Baja Designs LP9, which has a very sort of wide beam because these are both combo lights, so we're comparing combo versus combo, and a big hot spot right in the middle and flickers my camera apparently. So if we go off to the side here, I'm seeing about, not a lot, 375, 390 lux. And then as we get closer to the hot spot, right here is about 1,000 lux. And right here, right in the middle, we're gonna spike up to 9,000 right in the hot spot. But it drops off really quickly from 9,000 to 1,000 in about 2 feet. Now if we switch the lights back to our 8-inch Halo, we've got this laser look. And I'm sure if we mounted this up properly, it'd actually be centered, but you guys can see the beam pattern. Now, I'll tell you the temperature difference in these lights in a second as I touch them and adjust them. There's a noticeable temperature difference. So we've got a very wide, looks like a shutter almost, and it's very low, about 500 out on the outer edge. But we get right here is about 1,000. So we get quite a dispersed wide beam. And then as we come in, that's 2,000 right there. 3,000, 4,000, 5,000, 6,000, 5,800, right around the middle. We're hitting about 6,000. So the hot spot is almost half of the lux as the Baja LP9, but this falls off really quick outside of this focus beam, because that's about 6,000 there, and we get down to 3,000, 2,000 down here, back up to the hot spot, and then we get up to, that's about 1,000 right here. So it falls off quickly, much different beam pattern. And this is the Baja Designs LP6. Very focused right in the middle and kind of radiates out. And this is about 11,000. That's nearly as bright as the LP9 in the center, about 11,000 right in the hottest spot. And then we drop off to 3,000, 2,500, and down to 1,000 out here. These are the Pro versions of the Baja Designs lights. So Baja Designs makes LP6 and LP9s, but they make Pro versions, which are even brighter. So these are the Pro versions. They're also Pro expensive. So this is the dispersion on the Novsight light with both spot and wide on. Pretty good light up of the front yard. And that is just the wide, and that is the spot. So you can kind of get an idea of this, the dispersion with one or the other on. It's kind of got a nice cutoff if you're using this as a high beam and driving on the road with it. It's not going to blow people's night vision out. And this is what the LP9 Pro looks like. Spot and combo beam, we can't change them individually. So there's your LP6 in white light. That is pretty bright. The other thing I want to note is the actual temperature of these lights. So the LP9, that's the highest we can find on here, about 90, 93 degrees. Now I don't have the Novsight light on. It's still cooling off 130. And now I've got it powered on. It's pretty hot. Like we're seeing 140, 137 degrees on its chassis. Cooler up front. But you know, you could not hold this in your hand. That's as long as I can hold it. Here is the Novsight Halo 8 shooting up my driveway. The very tip of the driveway up there is about 100 feet. The demonator is about 25 feet away, and the Porsche is about 40 feet away. So there's what the Novsight lights look like with both on. Here's what the Baja Designs LP9 looks like. And what is really noticeable is we've got a lot of light 100 plus feet away at the top of the driveway. So very good lighting all around. But go back to the Novsight light. Both beams on. You know what, that's pretty good up there too. It's hard to see on camera in that dark spot. It's pretty good. It's not as bright as the LP9. So this is the LP6. We've got that really focused spot that we can target up into that area there. The LP6 Pro seems like there's a lot more light going on all over here. I don't know how that looks on camera. Go back to the Halo. I feel like we're doing an eye test. Back to the Novsight. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. That's just the cutoff beam. That's the everything beam. I think you definitely need both on to be competitive. We've got some lighting flowing off, flooding off, whatever you want to call it, cascading off into the side. Very big hot spot right there, but we can see all the way across the street. That's probably 200, 250 feet away. The LP6 Pro seems like there's a lot more light going on all over here. I don't know how that looks on camera. And here's just a final look in the dark of the features of this accessory light on the Halo. We can change it between amber and white. Change the functions like a sparkly, a boomerang, all on, pulsing, and then we've kind of got a chase and rotating. So we've got a few different functions if you want sort of that cool factor, top, bottom. There's a whole bunch of functions in here. This is sort of like a stacking design. I mean, you know what, this might matter to you guys. Like, I'm not saying this is silly. I think it's kind of cool. But for me, I would probably leave it on the amber, just like that. I would probably leave it on this. I don't need any fancy lights, but maybe if I was at a car show, I'd flip it on. But if I was off-roading, shooting videos, I would just leave this on. It's a good dust light or chase light. Oh, okay, it's bright in the garage. After being outside in the dark, I think every light would look dim at this point. Okay, so there you go. Comparison, we've got the new Novsight 8-inch pod light Pro Halo. I can't remember, this is a long name. Halo light from Novsight. Pretty cool light. It's gonna come down to some personal preference and how big your bank account is. This does come with a full wiring harness. This comes with Deutsch connectors and you have to wire it yourself. This comes with a controller and a switch. It's ready to go out of the box. This you have to wire into some switch panel, whether you're putting in a Jeep with factory switch panels or you have a Switch Pros or S-Pod, you're gonna need something to turn this on and off with and run the right amperage to. This comes with amber covers and blackout covers. This you have to buy covers separately. I have blackout covers. You can change the lenses out on these. So if you want to go to clear and you already bought a really expensive LP9, you can change the lens out. Tell me what you guys think. I'll put links to these down in the description below. That way you can see the exact price, because with that said, guys, my name's Casey. Help me with my goal of hitting 100,000 subscribers. Leave a like, help me beat that YouTube algorithm. Leave a comment, let me know what you think. If you have a question, I'll try to answer it. I upload new videos all the time. Hit that subscribe button. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Oh yeah, and make sure you subscribe if you want to see me install these lights, as well as some other lights that I've got in my glider. I'll show you how it all works, wiring. I got a video coming up with that too. See you guys later.